Hey guys, so welcome back after almost a 3 month hiatus. So, I'm really overwhelmed by the amount of questions, suggestions about the Obscure Toyline series. I had originally thought that this was going to be over in 2020. I ended it on episode 40. I felt like we were scraping the bottom of the barrel in terms of toy lines that I could find. The views were down, so I just assumed that we were going to be finished. I couldn't put out as many videos as I would like in a month. I changed positions. I'm the associate principal of my school now. So like I said, I felt like episode 40 was a good spot to end. A lot of people started messaging me saying, I really like the series. Are you going to do it at all? Here's some suggestions. These are some toys that I'd like for you to cover. These are some that you've missed. Maybe even revisit some of them and give more information on them, as well as new viewers coming in all the time saying that I just started watching the series and I'm really enjoying it. So guys, I'm really appreciative that, that made my day. So thank you very much. So, we're going to run this series into the ground, guys. So let's see how many episodes and how many obscure, well, sort of obscure toys that we can find for this toy line series. So, without any further ado, thank you again, guys. I really appreciate it. And we're going to take a look at another 6 or 7 obscure toy lines. Nano Fighters from Playmates, 1997. The Nano Fighters were marketed as nano pets that boys finally wanted, which you could agree or disagree with because there was already the virtual pet craze and there was some out there for boys. This was happening all throughout the 90s. What made these Nano Fighters different was that once you raised them up their in-clock age of 18, you could battle against somebody else who had another Nano Fighter. There were several different characters including Rough Rider, Alley Fighter, and Supreme Sumo. You play with Nano Fighters the same way that you would raise a virtual pet. You would feed them, train them, and clean them, with the added bonus of making them fight. 2 fighting Nano Fighters would plug into each other, and depending on who was trained better, would win the fight. The winner could fight somebody else right away. The loser would have to go home, train, and take medicine. Pocket Power by Tycho, 1988. Power Pocket was a line of toys created by Sega and distributed by Tycho. The toys came with the catchphrase, "Power that you pack in your pocket." They were small credit card sized cases that held various toys that could be taken anywhere. The toy line boasted 20 kits across 3 series, which featured everything from ripcord flying helicopters to GI infantry inspired rocket launchers, along with everything else in between. Nerfless by Parker Brothers, 1985. Parker Brothers attempted to capitalize on the Nerf craze by introducing a line of toy figures called Nerfless. They were described as a group of bouncy, colorful little creatures who love fast action and great fun. They've traveled far from their tiny planet, Earth, just so that they could roll around, bounce around, and always be around children. There was a number of different colored characters that all had detachable heads, and each head would fit on different bodies and different vehicles, including skateboards, tricycles, and trucks. Demolition Man by Mattel, 1993. They thought him out to capture a criminal. Even after 36 years on ice, they couldn't keep him cool. He's John Spartan, the Demolition Man, toughest cop of the 21st century. Join him in the hottest fight for the future. This was one series of 8 figures for the Demolition Man toy line, which was based off the Sylvester Stallone movie of the same name. Most specialty weapons and suit variations of Phoenix and John Spartan made up the whole series line. The line also included a role-playing missile shooting toy and 2 vehicles. He doesn't know how to use the 3 shells. Commando by Diamond Toy Makers, 1986. Come on, if we did a Sly Stallone toy line, of course we had to do Arnie. Commando toys from 1986 were based off the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie of the same name, Commando. Now for the Commando toy line, there was actually 3 variations. There was a 13-inch, which is highly collectible if it's still in box, along with a 6-inch and a toy line of 3 3/4 figures. They also marketed the Commando combat vest for children, which came with various military weapons. Stretch Monster by Kenner, 1977. After the success of Stretch Armstrong in 1976, Kenner followed up with Stretch Monster, an enemy for the Elastic Hero. The Stretch Monster was made in the same fashion. It was a large, jelly-filled action figure. Stretch Armstrong and Stretch Monster are both made of a latex rubber filled with a gelled corn syrup, which allowed it to retain its shape for a short time before shrinking back to its original shape. All the characters in the toy line were made this way, with the exception of Super Morph Man and Vac Man. They were filled with a granulated solid, and an air pump was used to suck the air out of them and freeze the figure in place. The Stretch Armstrong line enjoyed a resurrection in the mid-90s and early 2000s. Ronald McDonald Doll by Hasbro, 1979. The Ronald McDonald Toy from Hasbro is definitely an oddity, not because it's of McDonald's iconic mascot, but because he was sold at retail stores instead of the fast food restaurant, and it was produced by Hasbro. The 22-inch doll features an extra toy Grimace that he kept in his pocket, as well as a whistle that Ronald could blow if you squeezed his stomach. Slight variations of the doll were marketed as an education tool, where you could fasten Ronald's buttons, use his zipper, or practice tying your shoes with his laces. I actually found him at the flea markets about 2 years ago. He was missing his whistle though. Coneheads by Playmates, 1993. Another line from Playmates, this toy line was based on the movie, based on the comic, based on the Saturday Night Live skit starring Dan Aykroyd. Quickly, Coneheads is basically the story of an alien family that crash lands on Earth, which they meant to take over, and they wind up falling in love with the planet and staying. Only one base series was released for this toy line tie-in, 6 figures in total, including 2 of Beldar and 2 of his wife in both their spacesuit and suburban attire, along with their daughter Connie, and 1 of Agent Seeding. And that's gonna do it for another episode of obscure, well, sort of obscure toy lines from the 70s, 80s, and today. So like I said, guys, we're gonna keep going full steam with the series, but the only way that we can keep going is with comments and suggestions from you. So down in the comments, let me know what you'd like to see next. Take care, guys.